Fade in.
Nerdrotic.com.
If I'm making a low-tier Star Wars video, you know it has to be bad news. And if you're still a Star Wars fan, this is the worst of news. If you're not a Star Wars fan, then you're going to get a good chuckle because Kathleen Kennedy has been re-signed for 3 years. That's right. 3 more years of KK, 3 more years of the Let's Get High Republic, 3 more years of the Story Group, 3 more years of Pablo Hidalgo, 3 more years of crappy Star Wars. And no town rewards failure like Hollywood, and no company rewards failure like Disney Star Wars. Now, to be fair, Deadline hasn't reported on this. Neither has The Hollywood Reporter or Variety, the official rags of Hollywood. The only people I saw reporting on it were Collider and Screen Rant, which are garbage tier, but if enough garbage tier run with it, well, I've got to think there's some truth to it. From Screen Rant, Lucasfilm renews Kathleen Kennedy's contract through 2024, and then they repeat this headline in the byline. Then they repeat it one more time in the first paragraph because they need to fill their article with enough words so they can make their $1.50. But we're going to go to the second paragraph. Outside of creative decisions made for the Star Wars sequel trilogy, splitting audiences to say the least, Lucasfilm has become rather infamous for behind-the-scenes turmoil resulting in several filmmakers leaving the studio. Phil Lord and Chris Miller's shocking firing from Solo, a Star Wars story, is the most notable example, but Lucasfilm has also parted ways with Josh Trank, Colin Trevorrow, and others. More recently, Patty Jenkins' Star Wars spin-off Rogue Squadron was delayed due to creative differences, and I heard she's just gone. This has caused some to believe Lucasfilm would be better off without Kennedy. Most people who are capable of rational thought, but we're not talking about those kind of people. We're talking about the heads at Disney and Lucasfilm. But she is staying around. You know who isn't staying around? A large portion of the fandom. You know what is the biggest loss to Disney Star Wars? The fandom. The fandom that they disrespected. The fandom that Lucasfilm employees attacked. Now, the straw that broke the camel's back with me, because I was just thinking about coming back to Star Wars because it looked like they might be turning things around, but I was obviously a sucker. And when they fired Gina Carano, the way they fired Gina Carano, they not only fired her, they humiliated her. They wanted her to go through a 40-person Zoom room struggle session. And if you think I'm kidding, go watch her interview with Ben Shapiro. That is abject cruelty. But that's what these people are capable of. That is the kind of environment that Kathleen Kennedy thrives in. And of course she wasn't going to get fired. Now, I thought she was back in 2018, even made a video on it. But in early 2019, I came to the realization if she can survive Solo, she can survive anything. And it's because she's the most powerful woman in Hollywood, if not the most powerful, one of the most powerful. And she has both the Bob's balls in her front desk drawer, and she can play with them whenever the hell she wants. Kathleen Kennedy doesn't do much. I know she takes a lot of credit for her shitty movies making money, which they did, but George Lucas needs to take that credit because it was just the strength of the brand. Objectively, the quality has been utter shit. I will say The Mandalorian is at least acceptable. I understand why people like it. I think it's incredibly mediocre. And if you compare it to the rest of Star Wars, sure, it looks like Shakespeare, but it's not. Now, I'm done with Star Wars. I'm not going to come back to Star Wars. And I think a lot of people are going to be done with Star Wars in the next 48 hours, but it's still going to have enough people to hang around. But it's just never going to be what people wanted it to be. And that's because George isn't around. And they could bring George back at this point, and it wouldn't matter. I suppose you guys want some details. Well, these are all the details we got. This started from Matthew Bellani's newsletter, and I guess he used to work for one of the big rags. I think it was The Hollywood Reporter. Again, The Hollywood Reporter, Deadline, Variety have not reported on this. It's just one guy, but this guy does have a lot of cred, and a lot of sites are running with this. It's not exactly like this story is new. It's been out there for quite some time, so if this ends up to be BS, then I'll just pull the video. In Matthew Bellani's newsletter for Puck, Hat Tip, Star Wars News Net, it's mentioned Kennedy's deal with Lucasfilm has been extended, keeping her in place as president until at least 2024. At least is, I guess, the key phrase there. Read the relevant section in the space below, which would just repeat what I just said. So that's all the details we have. Now, I was going back and forth on whether I was going to review Boba Fett or not because a few people have asked me to do it. But if I do, I feel like any attention I give it would be helping it, even if I'm critiquing it. And it would feel like a betrayal to Gina Carano. Now, I don't know Gina Carano, and she knows me on Twitter, but that's it. and she probably wouldn't ask me to do that, but it's still something I feel strongly about. And it's because it isn't just about Gina Carano, and it never was just about Gina Carano. It's about the fandom. Because when Disney Star Wars fired Gina the way they did, they were sending a message to her fans, to her followers on Twitter and Instagram, and everyone who rallied around her. They were giving us all a giant middle finger. I know you love Star Wars, but the Star Wars you love doesn't exist anymore. And the Star Wars that does exist doesn't love you. And if you're tempted to go back, just remember what it was like a couple of years ago. Fire up some of my old Star Wars videos, or Jeremy at Geeks and Gamers, or anyone else. It's all been cataloged. All the Lucasfilm employees who've been attacking fans, all of the accusations of being Russian trolls, Russian bots, white supremacists, alt-right Yahtzees, or hell, Nazis. That's what they were calling us all the time. Lucasfilm employees. And Kathleen Kennedy signed off on it. And tonight, by giving Kathleen Kennedy a 3-year contract extension, Disney and Lucasfilm has signed off on it, and they don't deserve you. Until I see differently, Kathleen Kennedy is here to stay. Let me know what you think below. I will see you in the next video.
Nerdrotic.com. Please subscribe.